I'm Phil Parkinson. This is the story of Charlton's season 2009-2010.
As Charlton stepped down for the season's opener against newly promoted Wycombe Wanderers, they did so with a much-changed squad, and in particular in defence. In had come Christian Daly and Miguel Llera on free transfers from Rangers and MK Dons respectively, along with Fraser Richardson also on a free from Leeds. And it was one of the defensive trio who would give the Addicts a dream start against the other League One new boys. Daly got on the end of a corner to mark his league debut in style. Almost immediately, it was two. Richardson's marauding run set up last season's top scorer and new club captain Nicky Bailey. The Addicts were cruising. However, despite spending much of the half on the back foot, and with the home side without Llera, who was being treated for a head injury, Chris Zabrowski headed the visitors back into contention. But the two-goal advantage was restored shortly after the restart. The patched-up Llera also marked his debut with a goal, and it seemed game over. But the Addicts were pegged back once again, as Zabrowski grabbed another for the visitors with 15 minutes remaining to set up a nerve-jangling finale. Despite a couple of scares though, Charlton got their season off to a winning start. 3 days later, and Charlton's Carling Cup campaign was almost over before it had started. The best chance of a goalless 90 minutes fell just after the hour mark, when Andy Gray was bundled over by Richard Rose. However, the Addict striker, in what would prove to be his last start for the club, was denied by Adam Bartlett in the Bulls' goal. And in extra time, the visitors were made to rue that miss, as Johnny Godsmark struck the winner midway through the first period. It was back to league action the following Saturday as Charlton made the long trek to Victoria Park, and Dion Burton gave the Addicts an ideal start, coolly lobbing Scott Flinders midway through the first half. And Nicky Bailey made it 2 moments later, following great work by Terry Racon, as Charlton maintained their perfect league record. The Addicts were back in midweek action 3 days later as they made the short trip to Leyton Orient. But they went behind after 27 minutes when Tamika Makanda-Wire got onto the end of Charlie Daniels' free kick. Charlton needed some magic, and it was provided by John Joe Shelby with 25 minutes left. It was the youngster's first goal of the season, and it came at a crucial time. And the comeback was complete with just 6 minutes remaining. Dion Burton took advantage of Makanda-Wire's error to score with a lob for the second match running. And Charlton could celebrate 3 league wins out of 3. The following Saturday saw Charlton march to the top of the table after a comfortable win over Walsall. Miguel Llera's effort was unlikely to win a goal of the season competition, but was important nonetheless. And on 72 minutes, Scott Wagstaff raced clear to score his first senior goal for the club and seal another win for the Addicts. Seven days on, and a trip to Tranmere was next on Charlton's agenda, and the table toppers put John Barnes' struggling side to the sword. Lloyd Sam opened the scoring with his first goal in 18 months. And soon after, it was 2-0, courtesy of Jose Semedo's first goal for the club. The Portuguese midfielder's fine finish put the Addicts in complete control. 3 minutes into the second half and it was game over. Lloyd Sam got onto the end of Kelly Yuga's cross to secure a 5th consecutive league win. And the Addicts were to add a 4th before the end. It was the first time Charlton had scored 4 away from home in 6 years. Nicky Bailey's ball eluded everybody, allowing the captain to celebrate another goal as Charlton romped to a comprehensive victory. Five games gone and Charlton were top of the league, with the Addicts and Leeds the only sides to boast 100% records. Next up was a home clash with Brentford. Could Charlton make it 6 in a row in front of the Sky cameras? Commentary comes from Ian Dark and Scott Minto.
Long diagonal ball is aimed towards Lloyd Sam. It's let him in. Burton! He scored! Big mistake there at the back by Brentford, and Charlton Athletic keep up their record of scoring in every game so far. It took a deflection on the way in, but Dion Burton tried getting that one off him.
Definitely Dion Burton's goal, and we've seen this quite a few times at the Valley. Miguel Dieri's only been here since the start of the season, but a great cross-ball pass, always looking out for Lloyd Sam. And I can tell you, as a left-back, that's a horrible ball. You know the guy's behind you, what do you do? Try and head it back to the keeper, or just maybe head it out for a corner. He went back to the keeper, wasn't enough on it. Still showed a lot of good composure, because he could have gone for it himself. He didn't, cut the ball back. And Dion Burton there, trying to take it first time, a good finish. There's no way you'd be getting that goal off him, Ian.
Bailey chipping one in behind for Sam. Burton again, so experienced, nomadic career. Playing against one of his old clubs, but that probably happens most weeks. It's Shelby. Good football this from Charlton. Probing. Shelby. Burton around the corner. Lloyd Sam right through. Solo goal. Beautifully done. Charlton 2-0 up. And that was a quite brilliant goal.
Well, I've just been saying about how they need to get the ball down and pass it. Brentford have been excellent since Charlton scored that first goal. And not seen enough of the Charlton midfield, just getting hold of the ball, little 5-10 yard passes. And this is exactly what they're doing. This is wonderful football. 1-2 touch stuff. Keep the ball moving. Shelby getting on the ball. A little bit of luck there. But great skill from Lloyd Sam and a very, very composed finish. Once he got that one-on-one, you knew the ball was only ended up in the back of the net. Little nutmegs there, giving Lewis Price no chance whatsoever. Best bit of football we've seen so far from Charlton, and that's the type of thing they need to be doing.
A really, really good goal. 20 months without a goal, 2 last week, 1 this. He is flying at the moment. Saunders thought a bit quicker than Weston there. He got it in the end, back to Miles Weston, into the danger zone, and this time a splendid save from Rob Elliott to deny Carl Court.
Well, this is what I was saying about Brentford to get the goal. Could make things very interesting in the last 20 minutes. Great ball in, and that's a wonderful header from Carl Court. He's hit the target. Great save from Rob Elliott.
It was a terrific start. I was pleased. Pre-season went really well. We had a good trip to Ireland, and the games in Ireland were very good because in Ireland it's the middle of their season, so that the intensity of those games are good. So I was pleased with the preparation, and we couldn't have asked for a better start. 6 out of 6.
So 6 of the best, and next up came the return to the Valley of Alan Pardew and Southampton. The winning run looked like coming to an end after Adam Lallana put the Saints ahead in the first half. It was the first time that Charlton had fallen behind at the Valley so far this season, but the response from the players was good after the break. Dion Burton's reply earned the Addicts a point, but try as they might, the home team just couldn't make it a magnificent 7. Still, they weren't complaining after such an impressive start to the season. Seven days later came another big test as Charlton travelled to Carrow Road, but this time it was the Addicts who made the dream start. Burton put them ahead with just 18 minutes on the clock. And with half-time just 5 minutes away, the Addicts doubled their advantage. Jonjo Shelvey claimed his second of the season to put the visitors in total control. And there seemed to be only one winner. But despite their traumatic start to the season, Norwich were ominously gaining momentum under Paul Lambert. And the Canaries were handed a lifeline just before the interval. A quickly taken Norwich throw-in resulted in the Canaries halving their deficit through Wes Hoolahan. In the second half, Charlton withstood everything Norwich could throw at them until the second minute of added time, when the hosts grabbed a controversial equaliser. Grant Holt's goal was hotly disputed by the visitors, who claimed the Norwich striker had clattered into Rob Elliott while scoring. It left the Charlton manager highly frustrated.
I felt there was a foul which led to that goal, and sometimes when you're away from 25,000 people in the ground, you don't get those decisions. But it was a big decision, and you can look back over the season, and two extra points, would have been crucial.
8 games gone, and the manager had yet to change a winning team, but he was forced to the following week against Exeter, as Matt Spring replaced Jose Semedo, who was ruled out with a minor groin injury. Despite being frustrated by Dion Burton's unfortunate block, Nicky Bailey would soon get his name onto the score sheet. Just before half-time, in fact, the captain put the hosts ahead. And it stayed that way until 3 minutes from the end. After a 10-second period, Isel McLeod claimed his first Addicts goal in almost 2 years to seal the points. The Grecians did manage a consolation goal in stoppage time as Bertie Kozic made it 2-1, but the Addicts held on despite a nervous last couple of minutes. The month concluded with a first ever visit to the Western Homes Community Stadium, and it proved to be a disastrous night for the Addicts as they went down to their first league defeat of the season. Miguel Llera's comical own goal set the tone. The visitors went in at half-time with it all to do after Coyote Odejayi made it 2-0 to Colchester. Charlton's miserable night was complete as the home side went 3 up early in the second half. Rob Elliott's misjudgment allowed Odejayi to seal the U's win and left Charlton to lick their wounds. At the end of September, Charlton had slipped to 3 points off Pacesetters' leads, even though they were still in an automatic promotion place. And the top two would clash in the very next match at a packed Elland Road. Your commentator is John Roeder.
And just listen to that for a welcome for the top 2 teams in League One. Kenny's ball forward, backfoot, he's through here now for Leeds United, it's backfoot! I think everybody in Elland Road was expecting that ball to end up in the Charlton net. Here's Richardson. Good, strong, positive run from the former Leeds man, Richardson. Needs a good cross. Shelvey! Charlton's best move of the match so far, no doubt about it. Jonjo Shelvey with an excellent opportunity. It was a superb run from Richardson. And it wasn't too far wide either from being the opening goal of the afternoon. Hughes. Might drop nicely here for Becchio. Johnson. Challenged by Rackon. Johnson's got away from the Charlton midfielder though. Johnson! Fantastic save from Rob Elliott. That is a stunning stop from the Charlton goalkeeper. Johnson getting away from Rackon. And that was heading for the back of the net until the goalkeeper's intervention. Brilliant save. Houston in close support for Leeds. This is Shelvey. Joe Shelby, a little bit of room for himself. Excellent stop. Burton with the follow-up, and he's offside. It wouldn't have counted from Dion Burton anyway. Grant had a good view of this ball and just pushing it away to safety. Joe Shelby with the shot from distance. Flag had already gone up by this stage. Driven in at pace. Grant right behind it as Matthew Spring really did strike that one. It was a shot almost out of nothing.
An excellent point for Charlton, and they got back to winning ways despite going a goal down to Barnet in the Johnstone's Paint Trophy second round clash. After John O'Flynn's opener, Charlton was soon back in it. Isaac McLeod made it 1-1 before the latest product of Charlton's much heralded youth policy came to the party. Tamer Tuna celebrated his first goal for the club, a goal which he hoped would help him stake his claim for a first-team place. And two late goals sealed an excellent win. Nicky Bailey's stunning free kick made it 3. Before Scott Wagstaff struck a memorable goal on the break to send the Addicts cruising into round 3. A frustrating afternoon then followed at home to Oldham. Matt Spring came closest to breaking the deadlock in what was an uneventful first half. And after the break, Miguel Llera came even closer to breaking the deadlock, only to be left frustrated by the woodwork. Substitute Isaac McLeod then blazed the chance of the game horribly wide, before Charlton came within inches of winning it 5 minutes from time. Kelly Yuga was desperately unlucky not to score with this overhead kick, as the Addicts failed to score at the Valley for the first time in 10 matches. A far more entertaining clash with Huddersfield followed 7 days later. Sam Sodji signed on transfer deadline day for his second spell with the club, powered the home side ahead just 8 minutes in. The Addicts, though, were pegged back just before half-time. Following a spell of concerted pressure, the Terriers were rewarded when Anthony Pilkington struck an excellent equaliser. But the home side restored their lead early in the second half. Isaac McLeod's goal took Charlton, if only temporarily, back to the top of the table. A feisty encounter followed as Charlton met Gillingham in the league for the first time since 1981. After a tense 78 minutes, Charlton broke the deadlock following a bizarre own goal from John Nutter. But the Addicts couldn't hold on, and almost immediately the Gills were level. The prolific Simeon Jackson earned the home side a point. The longest trip of the season was upon the Addicts as October drew to a close, and it proved to be a disappointing one. After Burton's challenge on Danny Livesey, Carlisle were awarded a penalty. And after on-loan keeper Carl Akimi had denied Ian Hart, the former Leeds defender was on hand to slam home the rebound. Phil Parkinson was sent to the stands for protesting at the soft award of Carlisle's spot kick, but he would have been delighted to see his side go in level at the break. Charlton were awarded a penalty too, as Graham Kavanagh upended Burton, who made no mistake from the spot. But the Addicts were undone by Kavanagh after the break. The Irish international struck twice in the second half, in the process condemning Charlton to only their second league defeat of the campaign. It all left the manager to wonder what might have been.
We went to Carlisle and, to be fair, I felt we got out-fought in that game. Kavanagh scored 2 great goals, but I felt, it was a typical game going up to a northern town, and the home team being more up for it, more prepared to roll up the sleeves than we were on the day.
A third of the way through the season, and it seemed that the battle was for second place behind runaway leaders Leeds United. And November dawned with 2 consecutive live televised games. Southampton away in the Johnstone's Paint Trophy was preceded by a nightmare in Northwich. Commentary from Peter Drury and Andy Townsend.
It's Lee Elam's take, and Bailey's in. Oh, it's a fine save from Randolph.
There you go, that's all you've got to do. When he's attacking it, he's difficult to stop. I'm surprised the Charlton players have allowed him a bit of a free run. Normally you see players now getting hold of these sort of big guys, preventing them from having a free rein at it.
And it's down, and it's Elam, and back in by Connor. Somebody, Randolph's fallen on it. Who didn't have a shot? That brings new meaning to the phrase goalmouth scramble.
Unreal that was. Look, watch, they just couldn't get enough on it to finally just stab it home. It's
Daly on the line.
Daly on the line there does ever so well. You have to say, plenty of experience there, gets in behind the goalkeeper, but so many green shirts had a nibble at it and they couldn't get enough on it.
I'll tell you what, Andy, we've got a game here.
Certainly have.
We've got a game. In again by Herring and on by Bailey. Oh, what a save from Randolph from Connor's header. Point blank, that is a wonderful, wonderful save. The young goalkeeper has excelled himself there.
Magnificent stop, it really is. And Connor, look, just had the presence of mind to peel off, as I said earlier. Bailey's always going to win those. It's about where the second ball drops, and that's a stunning save from Randolph.
Mackenzie. Sam. Drifted wide by Racon, again from Leon Mackenzie, whose feet are sweet, and Racon's hit it, and Bailey was in the way.
He didn't know much about it, but he got something on it. He weaves into the box, he's into that territory, people don't want to touch him. It's a decent hit from Sam. Bailey just gets something on it. Of course, they're eager to keep pushing forward, Northwich. They'd love to win it.
Over the top here for the substitution, and he scored! 18-year-old Wayne Riley with 10 minutes to play. The FA Cup is sprinkling its magic dust.
As the corner kick, it goes an awful long way, and in the end it's Thomas, the defender, coming up from the back, who scrambles it home to give Southampton the lead. Wayne Thomas with the goal, his first for 4 years. Good ball forward, that one to Wygo. Here's Lambert. Wygo again, Lallana, Lambert, lovely move so far. Oh, and it's a goal too! Picture-book move, Ricky Lambert finishes it all off. His 11th of the season. Jim Holden again, he's done okay on this debut. Oh, classy bit of play from Yuga. What a terrific effort that was. Nearly caught Southampton out. Terrific save from Białkowski. Couldn't have expected that. And Charlton Athletic do get a goal. The flag stays down. It's Leon Mackenzie. It's 2-1, but it's stoppage time now.
That's a wonderful goal, a striker's goal, and that's where he wants to be.
3 defeats in a row then. Could the Addicts get back on track at home to the MK Dons? Commentary comes from Dan O'Hagan.
It's Wilbraham! Oh, what a hit! The captain with a blockbuster. Only his second league goal this season, but when they come as good as that, there'll be no complaints from Milton Keynes Dons fans. Davis over the head of Richardson, a mistake by the fullback. Maybe the wind was a factor, but that is a hit and a half. Keeper off his line, but the placement, the precision was absolutely spot on. Here goes Bulldog, who took it on the chest. Support from Chadwick on as well here. Here is Luke Chadwick. Chadwick's ball in for Goban. It's Lewis Goban at the near post, across here for Wilbraham again! And somehow it's cleared on the line by Charlton. It should have been 2-0. Meanwhile, here comes the break with Mooney. Charlton motoring now, it's Racon. And free kick given here for Charlton, who should be 2 behind. Well, how does this not go in by Chadwick, and Wilbraham here from Goban's pass had to score, didn't he? Blocked on the line by a combination of 2 Charlton bodies. It's a Nicky Bailey free kick here for Charlton then. Bailey's ball is whipped in. It's going to come here to Mooney! Charlton level straight away. David Mooney's first goal for the club. On loan from Reading, fires home with real precision. And Charlton are back on terms. The MK Dons lead is snuffed out straight away. 1-1.
Equalising for the Alex is number 23.
Bit of down here, comes off an MK Dons defender to Mooney, and the finish was dead-eyed precision. Davis, Richardson now for Lloyd Sam here for Charlton. Can he keep it in? Yes, he can. It's Lloyd Sam for Charlton. Sam's ball across for Burton, and Nicky Bailey converts from inches to give Charlton a 2-1 lead. The captain, as the game turns right around after trailing 1-0 to that great goal from Wilbraham, Charlton suddenly are 2-1 in front. Well, Nicky Bailey was Charlton's top scorer as they came down from the Championship last season. He's such a danger, gets forward so well here. It was Lloyd Sam's cross. It comes to Bailey, who from a couple of yards does not miss those. And Charlton lead by 2-1 all of a sudden. Here's Dion Burton down for Lloyd Sam, who does really well and scores a stunning goal. Oh, he wriggled free and found the finish. It's a glorious third for Phil Parkinson's Charlton. And Sam did brilliantly. They have now a 2-goal cushion for the first time today. Lloyd Sam's goal, Charlton 3, MK Dons 1. All about the footwork here though, and the finish too. Nicky Bailey's corner, and the header for 4-1 is emphatic. It's Sam Sodji. Not sure about the dance, but a scoreline of 4-1 surely seals the points for Phil Parkinson. And it's 4 for Charlton. Sodji seals the win. And a goal his brother striker Akpa would be more than proud of from Sam Sodji.
Scoring the Alex, 4th goal, it's number 18.
This is hit long, looking for Lloyd Sam again. Here's Dion Burton! It's 5 now, and the fans have the 5 they were chanting for. Dion Burton's 7th league goal this season for Charlton, and their top scorer fires home the latest goal in an afternoon chock full of them. Charlton 5, MK Dons 1. Burton clinical. Charlton now coasting towards the victory. 5-1.
You can imagine I was under a bit of pressure after losing Northwich and then subsequently Southampton. But I'd spoke to the chairman and the board, and going into the Southampton game I said, look, I need to pick a team for this game with the MK Dons game in mind, and that's what we did. I picked a team for MK Dons and worked backwards to the Southampton game, and wasn't prepared to put anyone at risk who I felt had injury problems at the time. And it worked great for us in terms of the league result, but that was a big game for a big result for me personally, and obviously it kicked us on again.
So an excellent response from the Addicks and their biggest win of the season. At Yeovil the following Saturday though, Charlton were up against it after Sam Sodji was sent off in a game played in atrocious conditions. The Addicks' afternoon went from bad to worse as the hosts went ahead just before half-time. John Abika's strike left Charlton with a mountain to climb in the second half. But backed by a vociferous if rain lashed travelling support, and with the strong wind now behind them, the manager went for it and brought on Agpo Sodji. And after being denied a goal by the offside flag, Sodji Jr. did manage to find an equaliser to make amends for his brother's earlier mistake and secure what was an excellent point in the circumstances. Yeovil's West Country rivals Bristol Rovers were the next visitors to the Valley, and it was a dramatic night in SE7. Charlton certainly made a dream start, finding themselves a goal ahead inside just 4 minutes. David Mooney, on loan from Reading, grabbed his second goal for the Addicks. And things will get even better for the home side. Miguel Llera, in for the suspended Sam Sodji, was hauled down in the box, and up stepped Dion Burton to double the lead. And it should have been 3 soon afterwards. However, Mooney inadvertently blocked John Joe Shelby's shot, and the visitors could breathe again. Not only that, they got themselves back into it late in the first half. Christian Daly was deemed to have fouled Joe Kaffour, and Jeff Hughes made no mistake from the spot. And all of a sudden, it was game on. "10 minutes into the second half, and incredibly, the sides were level. The Charlton defence failed to deal with the corner, and Chris Lines made it 2-2. However, Charlton's response was first class. After Mooney was denied another goal by the crossbar, Nicky Bailey was on cue to restore the home side's advantage. And late on, the win was secured by Agpo Sodji's second in as many games. He made it 4-2, but the evening was marred by a knee injury sustained by the unfortunate Kelly Yuga, who wouldn't feature again all season for the Addicks. At the end of November, Charlton were looking in good shape for an immediate return to the Championship. Norwich, though, were the team to look out for. The Canaries had recovered from a horrendous start of the season and were closing in on the top 2. A trip to Brighton's Withdean Stadium was next up for Charlton, and after James Tunnicliffe had gone close to putting the Seagulls ahead, the visitors went on to secure their first win in 9 away games. Dion Burton set the Addicks on their way, getting on the end of Nicky Bailey's free kick to give Charlton the lead with his 9th of the season. And it was 2-0 soon afterwards, as Scott Wagstaff, making his first league start of the campaign, added the finishing touch to a sweeping move, and that was pretty much that. David Mooney came desperately close to making it 3, but in the end Charlton were more than happy to settle for a 2-0 win and a badly needed success on their travels. The 5th of December is a celebrated day for Addicks fans everywhere, and 2009 proved to be no exception. Dion Burton scored the only goal of the game to see off struggling Southend. Charlton's pre-Christmas resurgence continued at Edgeley Park against rock bottom Stockport. Sam Sodji put the Addicks ahead early on. And the points were secured with 17 minutes remaining. Scott Wagstaff's fine strike made it 4 wins in a row as the Charlton youth team product celebrated his 4th goal of the season. The home side did manage a goal late on. Whether Adam Griffin intended this is a different story, but it was little more than a consolation. Carl Baker's red card deep into stoppage time sealed a frustrating day for the home side. The following Saturday saw Charlton and Millwall meet in the club's first league clash for nearly 15 years, and the match beat the Big Freeze to go ahead. It was the visitors who raced out of the blocks, stunning one of the Valley's biggest crowds of the season, almost 20,000 in the process. Steve Morrison capitalised on some hesitancy in the Addicks defence to put the Lions ahead. And it was 2-0 not long after. Andy Frampton was denied by the frame of the goal, and Morrison was on hand to put Millwall in control. But the game turned around completely in 7 minutes, as Charlton were awarded 2 penalties by referee Mike Jones. The first of them arrived after Mooney was upended by Frampton, who was lucky to avoid a red card. Burton kept his cool to pull one back for the Addicks. And incredibly, Charlton was soon given the chance to make it 2-2, when Najim Abdou upended Lloyd Sam and received a red card for an offence that looked less serious than Frampton's just a few minutes earlier. Burton drew Charlton level, and it seemed there could be only one winner now. And when Nicky Bailey put Charlton ahead with one of the goals of the season early in the second half, the Addicks looked to be on their way to a 5th straight victory and the local bragging rights. It was almost 4 soon after, and that man Burton nearly completed a Derby Day hat-trick, only to be denied by the post. And it was to prove to be a pivotal moment as the 10 men launched a stirring fight back. David Martin made it 3-3 with 10 minutes remaining to send the 3,000 travelling Millwall fans in the Jimmy Seed stand ecstatic. Incredibly though, Charlton was soon back in front in this action-packed derby. Morrison, who'd been the Lions' hero earlier in the afternoon, put through his own net to surely seal victory for Charlton with only 5 minutes remaining. But there was more drama to come, because in stoppage time, the visitors' never-say-die attitude was rewarded as Danny Schofield scored Millwall's dramatic equaliser. For Phil Parkinson, it certainly was a case of 2 points dropped.
Well, it was a terrific spectacle in terms of the result and other incidents, penalties and sending off. Great game to watch. It was ended up we should have won it. I felt when we went 3-2 ahead, we took our foot off the pedal and sat back. And I remember sitting down with the lads the following week and showed them that 15-minute video of that period in the game. And really, we should have pushed on and scored another goal, and we got punished for it. I felt on the day, a few of our younger players, the occasion and the intensity of the atmosphere got to them slightly, and we didn't play as well as we could have done, but still came away with a point.
Swindon were the visitors to the Valley on Boxing Day, and the fans were treated to an equally dramatic 90 minutes. Charlton were up against it as early as the 19th minute, when Sam Sodji saw red following a bad challenge on John Paul McGovern. But it was the short-handed hosts who took the lead after 38 minutes. John Joe Shelvey putting Charlton ahead, but things went rapidly downhill soon after. Dion Burton received a second yellow card for deliberate handball here, leaving the Addicks with a 1-0 lead, but with 50 minutes to defend it with just 9 men. Swindon inevitably dominated after the break and unsurprisingly drew level just short of the hour mark. Charlie Austin struck to make it 1-1. Charlton hung on to the point until the 74th minute, when the other half of Swindon's prolific strike force, Billy Painter, turned the game around with his 11th of the season. There seemed no way back for Charlton. That was until the 94th minute. Matt Spring picked out Miguel Llera, and the Spaniard coolly lobbed David Lucas as the Valley held its collective breath to earn the home side a miraculous point. Two days later, a depleted Charlton were back in action at Brentford, with Soji and Burton banned. Jose Semedo was drafted into a makeshift defence, which was breached by Carl Court's goal early in the second half. Still, the visitors did secure a point 10 minutes later. After Chris Dixon was sent flying, up stepped Nicky Bailey, and he deputised for normal penalty taker Burton, with the usual result. Sam Saunders came desperately close to winning it for Brentford, but it ended all square to complete a satisfactory festive period for the Addicts. So at the end of 2009, Charlton were clinging onto second spot, ahead of a resurgent Norwich side who had a game in hand and a superior goal difference. As we entered 2010, it looked like it was going to be a fascinating promotion battle. Charlton had nearly 3 weeks off due to the second freeze of the winter, but they were back in action at struggling Wickham in mid-January, and they made an excellent start in Buckinghamshire. John Joe Shelby firing the visitors ahead after only 12 minutes. But the home side made it 1-1 20 minutes after the restart. John Paul Pittman drew Wickham level, and it was very much game on. It was just the kick Charlton needed, as they were soon back in front. Nicky Bailey showed great determination to claim his 10th goal of the season and start the new year off in perfect fashion. Next up was the rearranged game with Hartlepool following the freezing weather, and Charlton drew first blood. David Mooney's third goal for the club, putting the home side ahead on 31 minutes. Charlton were in control, but Hartlepool were given an ideal opportunity to draw level after Anthony Sweeney was upended by Llera. David Bahan made it 1-1 from the penalty spot. With Hartlepool content to sit back, Charlton hammered away the visitors' goal and got their reward as Scott Wagstaff struck a superb winner. It left the manager praising the impact that the young midfielder was making this season.
I really like Scott. He's a tremendous player. I think he lost his way the year before that, where he got built up too quickly. He wasn't quite ready for first team football. We loaned him out, didn't quite go well for him there, and sometimes a player like that never comes back. You know, they can get almost lost in that type of scenario. But with Scotty, because of his mental toughness and his desire to be a player, has emerged again this season, and I'm expecting him to really kick on again next year.
Leyton Orient were next in front of the Sky cameras. Commentary comes from Bill Leslie and Gary Birtles.
Here's Dion Burton. Burton for Charlton and blocked away. Still alive here. No more, and Chambers can bring it away.
What a wonderful take that was by Burton.
And he couldn't find the telling final touch.
Look at that for a touch. Steadies himself, waits, goes for it himself. I don't think anybody in the box he could have done anything else with there.
Chambers can carry forward here for Orient. Brush off Bailey as well. And Semedo. Bailey still down on his haunches. Here's Adams. And snaps Basie. That's Sean Thornton. Max McLeish! And that's 1-0 to Leyton Orient. Inside the first 3 minutes of the second half, the O's have the lead.
They carried on, they check, they play it back, Lovely ball put in there, stays onside, diving header. This is the ball that caused all the problem. They thought he was going to shoot, didn't, knew where he was. What a finish this was. Concentration personified, just inside that near post. But here we see, there's the arm that comes out. That's what they're living about. And you can see they've got a reason to be. There comes the arm, claps him in the face.
Adams. Jarvis. What a great turn! Denied only by the post. So close to a second. Here comes John Doe Shelby. Shelby for Charlton, still going. This is still alive with Lloyd Sam. Chipped up cleverly, Chorley was there. Again, the header didn't go where he thought it would. In by Richardson. And the header by Mooney lacked the power.
He's desperate to get his team back in, isn't he, Sam? He wants the ball wherever it is on the pitch. Deep on the right, in the centre, he wants it.
This has come through to Richardson. Demetriou couldn't deal with it. Richardson cut back and Mooney slices it wide.
That defeat to Leyton Orient marked the end of Charlton's 18-match unbeaten record at the Valley, and 5 days later against Tranmere they fell behind again. Sam Sodji back from a 4-match ban for that horror tackle against Swindon, putting through his own goal. But Charlton was soon level, Grant Basie marking his 50th appearance for the club by crossing in for Nicky Bailey's much-needed equaliser. Either side could have won it in the final stages. Ian Goodison couldn't have come any closer for the visitors. Before Charlton quickly broke down to the other end in stoppage time. Dion Burton brought the best out of Luke Daniels, but there was still time for one last Addicks chance. And that chance fell the way of Nicky Bailey, but he was denied by the outside of the post, and Charlton were forced to settle for a disappointing draw. By the end of January, Norwich had completed their remarkable rise to the top of League One, while Leeds were faltering following their FA Cup heroics. Could Charlton take advantage of this and reignite their hopes of automatic promotion? February started with a rearranged visit to Walsall, and for the third game running, the Addicks fell behind. Troy Deeney put the Saddles ahead after 32 minutes. But Charlton did go in at the break all square. Terry Racon was upended by Jamie Vincent. The Walsall players and management weren't happy, but up stepped Dion Burton to make it 1-1. Walsall finished the game with 10 men following the late dismissal of Deeney, but the visitors couldn't make their numerical advantage pay, and it ended all square. Four days later, and Charlton travelled to Swindon. Despite dominating the first half, Danny Wilson's team almost fell behind when John Joe Shelby rattled the frame of the goal. But once again, Charlton went a goal down midway through the second half. Kevin Amankwa added the finish to a well-worked corner kick routine. Back on Boxing Day, Charlton's 9 men had struck an injury-time equaliser against Swindon, and they did it with 11 this time, as Nicky Bailey fired a priceless leveller deep into stoppage time. Next up, another trip down the M4. Bristol Rovers away in front of the Sky cameras.
Charlton will get us underway, looking to end their worst run of the current campaign. 4 games without a win, and it's just 1 winning egg for Bristol Rovers. So both these teams need to get back on track as we enter the final third of the season. Chilly night here in the West Country, but the pitch in remarkably good condition when you consider this ground is shared with Bristol Rugby Club, who had a game here at the weekend, and that first tackle was a bad one.
Certainly was, wasn't it? It was late. The referee, rightly so, even though it's only 20-odd seconds gone, he's produced a card. The former Watford and Stockport midfielder Dominic Blizzard diving in here. You want to get your first tackle time right.
And there's the touch, there's the late one. That is a shocker. That's a red card any day of the week. You just hate to see things like that. There's the touch, and look at that. That is a disgrace for me. He'll say, well, it's early, I want to get my first tackle right, but he's gone in with his foot slightly off the floor. Off for me.
There's Lines again, the number 4. Came towards him, and a chance of a goal! What a start! Elliott in the right place at the right time, and Bristol Rovers take the lead inside 14 minutes. And for the 5th game in a row, Charlton go a goal behind.
It's a really good flick on, intelligent, didn't go for goal. Nobody picked him up. And that is a calm, assured finish from the centre-half with a left foot volley.
Cleverly taken by Heffernan, and that's not a bad ball. Oh, the goalkeeper has hesitated, and that could be fatal. But in the end, he made a good save. Danger hasn't gone yet as Heffernan crosses. Campbell was poised to shoot. Here's Jones. Could so easily have been 2-0 to Bristol Rovers. Maybe it could yet. Well, I warned you about his power shooting from long range. And Lines again testing the keeper. Lucky there, Chris Lines. He certainly didn't mean that clearance to go where it did, straight to Byron Anthony, but maybe they're still in trouble here as Bailey comes in from the left. So dangerous. The referee's had a long look at that. And what has he decided? It looks like it's a yellow card for simulation. That looked harsh.
Didn't look harsh. I thought he was going to point straight to the spot there. I know what's inside his head. Bailey's saying, what can I do here? He's done well, he's accelerated away. There, gets, oh, it's a forearm smash, comes right away across him. Goes past, there's the arm across. That simulation, dear me. It's at least obstruction.
Cleared by Anthony. Oh, the flick could take it to Heffernan. It's Heffernan with a chance to make it 2! What a game he's had! What a finish it was! And once again, it's Byron Anthony who gets it clear. Rackon back in! Oh, what a strike that was! No real celebration because he knows it's not really, I think anyway, going to make any difference, but what a goal.
Yeah, it was a horrific tackle, and I think if it happened after 6-7 minutes in the game, the ref would have sent him off. I think it was so quick. The ref was probably feeling his way into the game, and knew that he'd made a bad decision, and rang me afterwards, and he was very, very apologetic. Unfortunately for Grant and for us, that he's made a full recovery.
Disaster, and with Yuga and Basie out for the season, a real headache for the manager at left back. Johnny Jackson was recruited on loan from Notts County to fill the gap, and he started the home game with Yeovil. Kyle Reid's first half opener set the tone for what was a comfortable afternoon for the Addicts. And when another loanee, David Mooney, struck early in the second half, Phil Parkinson was able to celebrate a first win in 6 games. But the midweek visit to Brighton saw Charlton take a step back as the Seagulls inflicted a second home defeat of the season. Despite going close through Dion Burton, it was Gus Poyet's side who struck first through Inigo Calderon's effort, which took a slight deflection off Miguel Llera. And the points were wrapped up for the visitors 12 minutes from time, thanks to Elliot Bennett's fine strike. Akpo Soji's consolation, deep into stoppage time, was merely that, and Charlton had to regroup ahead of the visit to struggling Southend just 3 days later. And at Roots Hall, Charlton, and in particular former shrimper Nicky Bailey, were given a hot reception. The Addict skipper's popularity with the home fans nosedived yet further after he was floored off the ball by Jean-Francois Christophe, leaving the referee with little option but to produce a red card for the Southend man. But the home side took the lead soon after. Matt Patterson's shot providing Rob Elliott with one of those moments he'll want to forget. It certainly was, though, an uncharacteristic mistake from the keeper. Charlton dominated the second half, and with the extra man, they carved the Southend defence apart time and time again. Only David Mooney will know just how he failed to score here. Still, Charlton finally broke through a quarter of an hour from time. Akpo Soji getting onto the end of substitute Kyle Reid's inviting cross. But it was Southend who came within inches of reclaiming the lead. Simon Francis couldn't have come much closer with this superb free kick. But there was to be one final twist. In stoppage time, Reid's pace saw him run clear of Southend's tiring back line before unleashing a superb finish to earn Charlton a massive win and leave the Addicks boss to revel in another vital contribution from the wide man.
Cole's a good player. He's exciting. He gets crosses in the box, and he always looks to shoot. And he's a good player, and I'm sure he's got a good career ahead of him.
Despite that win, Norwich looked out of sight, but with Leeds continuing to stumble, Charlton hadn't given up on that second automatic promotion spot just yet, especially with rock bottom Stockport, their next opponents. And the clash with the Hatters turned into a fairly routine one for the Addicks, as the game was over with barely 10 minutes on the clock. Paul Huntington put through his own net before Charlton soon made it 2. Akpo Soji claimed his third goal in as many games as Phil Parkinson's side cruised to another victory. Seven days later, Charlton entered the Lions' Den for the second of the season's derbies with Millwall, and it turned into the low point of the Addicks campaign. Darren Ward, who spent some of the previous season on loan at the Valley, opened the scoring just before half-time. And Millwall ran riot late on, scoring 3 times in 7 second-half minutes. Chris Solly, in for Johnny Jackson, who'd left the club as Charlton's left-back curse continued, was brutally exposed as Christian Daly's own goal made it 2. And with the Charlton defence all at sea, Steve Morrison struck twice more to cap a miserable afternoon for the Addicks, who went down to their heaviest defeat of the season at the hands of their bitterest rivals. Surely things would get better as the derbies kept on coming. Because 7 days later, Gillingham were at the Valley for the first time in 29 years. And after dominating the early exchanges, the Addicks did take the lead, courtesy of Fraser Richardson's first goal for the club. But Gillingham were level straight from the restart. Andy Barcham struck an absolute screamer to equalise. Charlton were then denied by the woodwork for a second time. Dion Burton, the unlucky man, before Gillingham went in front completely against the run of play. The visitors were still searching for their first away win of the season, and they must have been dreaming the long wait was coming to an end when Dennis Ollie put them ahead in first half stoppage time. But Charlton rescued a point on the hour mark thanks to David Mooney's classy strike. Despite the goal, a point was all that the home side could manage. The month ended with a tricky clash at Huddersfield. Despite falling behind to Jordan Rhodes' early goal in the second half, Charlton fought back to claim a point. Kyle Reid grabbed a third of his loan spell to earn a draw as Charlton emerged from a disappointing fortnight with a creditable point. Eight games left and second place was up for grabs. Both Millwall and Swindon had put together tremendous runs to overhaul the Addicks, but with 3 points separating four clubs, it was proving impossible to predict who would be joining Norwich in the Championship. Easter Saturday saw Charlton make a first ever visit to Stadium MK, and they were indebted to Darren Randolph for keeping them in the game. One goal settled it, and it came the way of the Addicks midway through the second half. Nicky Forster was chopped down by Sean O'Hanlon, and the on-loan striker made no mistake from the penalty spot. Two days later, and Carlisle made the long trip to SE7. Just one goal was enough again, as Sam Sodji ensured maximum points over the holiday period. A narrow defeat then followed at Southampton, where Michail Antonio scored the only goal in the first half. Charlton pushed forward after the break, but found keeper Kelvin Davis impossible to beat, as Alan Pardew got the better of his former team. The Addicks were back to winning ways though 3 days later. After Colchester thought they'd taken the lead, it was Nicky Forster who scored the only goal of the game, as Charlton all but cemented their playoff place. Up next, another East Anglian side, Norwich, potentially just a win away from promotion.
Here's Sodji. Not too many Charlton players in this build-up. Bailey's made himself available. Forster towards the penalty spot and tipped away by Forster, with the other Forster waiting for a ball. Nearest we've come to a goal. Bailey's ball in. Nicky Forster had made the run. He hoped for a cross. It was tipped away by Fraser Forster. Well, Bailey had options. I think that was a cross, in fairness to him. And the Norwich supporters are congregated behind the goal that their team are attacking. They'd love to see a goal go in at that end. Well, they have the best view. Well, they have done in theory, but the flag brought that to an end. Here's Lappin. Decent effort, and they almost see the goal they were hoping for. Best save of the game from Darren Randolph. He couldn't have seen it till quite late either. It probably went through a couple of players before the keeper would have seen it. And it was an excellent save. Good reactions from Darren Randolph. Hasn't scored since August when the sun was on his back. Well, the sun's back out again, and it might be shining on Norwich City's return back to the Championship. Randolph made the save that conceded the corner, but he could do nothing to stop Nelson, and Norwich are in front. Here's Lappin, giving it away to Bailey. Could be dangerous. It's just beyond the post. Bailey claims a corner. He's incensed that one hasn't been given. Well, this will tell us definitively it was given away to Bailey. Yeah, it was a deflection, wasn't it? Hit Doherty. Should have been a corner. It's just a goal kick. Bailey! And Forster's there again. It's proving to be a masterclass in goalkeeping from Fraser Forster. Well, it's going to take something special, you feel, to get past Forster today. He was reacting quickly from one side of his goal to the other. Got across there quickly and double palmed it to safety. Charlton have started really well in this second half, looking for an immediate equaliser. Burton! Great save again! Fraser Forster has been outstanding when he's been called upon, and it's a hat-trick of saves. Burton couldn't believe it when the ball was kept out. And Charlton are still going forward, and Norwich are still being examined. Borrowdale. Terrific save by Fraser Forster. That's the best of them so far to deny Burton. Brilliant.
Every manager looks back and can say that was a game which cost us, and that for me was a game which cost us automatic promotion, because I just felt we'd coming into a real rich vein of form. We knew we had a tough run in. We were playing the football we'd played at the start of the season again, and statistically we had about 18 attempts on goal, and statistics don't always win your football games, but normally they do work out over a course of a season, and we should have won the game, and we didn't take our chances. We came up against an inspired goalkeeper on the day. 3 points that day would have got us automatic promotion.
So with Norwich promoted, just one automatic place remained, and Charlton desperately needed to win their last 3 games, starting at struggling Exeter. After Dion Burton had gone close, it was the home side who went ahead early in the second half. George Friend, the man on target. But Charlton was soon level, albeit in controversial circumstances. Kyle Reid's shot was deemed by referee Dave Phillips to have crossed the line. It did look a little harsh on the home side. And it could have gone either way in the closing stages, as both sides, equally desperate for the points, really went for it. Ryan Harley's shot was tipped onto the post by Darren Randolph. Before Nicky Forster's effort was seemingly handled on the goal line. April ended with the news that Jonjo Shelvey was to leave for Liverpool after the end of the season for a fee of £1.7 million plus add-ons. And with the teenager unable to feature again for the Addicts, the timing was far from ideal.
It was difficult because Liverpool had made this offer, and it really did happen quickly. It was one day the chairman called me, said, "Look, we've had this offer from Liverpool. We need to take it." And came up the training ground to have a chat with myself, Tim Breaker, and obviously John Joe. And we debated about what to say to the supporters. And there was a scenario of not saying anything, and just not playing John Joe. And I felt that if we did that, then I'd be constantly asked questions in the press. And I said, look, if the board are going to take this money, then I think we need to be honest with the supporters. I think they deserve that honesty. And Richard Murray, he totally agreed. And he's publicly said it was just a deal which was too good to turn down for the longevity of Charlton Football Club. And I think all the supporters I've spoke to understand that.
2 games remaining, and Charlton knew a maximum return from both was essential to give them a sniff of second place. And with Leeds the last scheduled visitors to the Valley, it was win or bust if a top 2 place was to be claimed. John Roeder is your commentator.
Forster. Blocked by Lowry. Skipped forward by Kilkenny. Gradle's on the chase, and Max Gradle will be in here. Gradle to open the scoring, excellent save. And Darren Randolph denies Leeds an early goal. Charlton eyes looking towards the assistant on this near side, David Coote. But no flag was raised. Borrowdale will take this corner kick. Plenty making a move towards this ball, and just over, is it from Bailey? It's out, and it is just over. Oh, what a chance that was! Plenty go for the ball here. It looked as though it had gone over the bar there, but that was an optical illusion. Swindon, who meet Millwall at the Den next weekend. Here's Lloyd Sam towards Suji! Charlton's automatic promotion dreams are still very much alive. Akpo Soji, the substitute, with a late goal. Not too much emotion on the face of the manager, but I'm sure inside he's feeling absolutely thrilled. Despite the best efforts of goalkeeper and defender, Leeds could not keep it out. Sam with the header across goal, and Soji rising high. Naylor and Higgs couldn't prevent it going in. The breakthrough has come, and it is Charlton who have got it. It's all gone horribly wrong for Leeds. And it might get even worse. Free kick from Kyle Reid, and Charlton so close to getting a second. There were two Charlton players there lining up the free kick. Who would take it? And it was Reid who trashed it against the upright. In by Grant, backward, great save, Randolph. Leeds so close to the equaliser, but Darren Randolph has foiled them with a save of first-class quality.
Well, I think the Leeds game in particular, the support we had that day was just incredible, and all the lads mentioned it afterwards. It was fantastic. It was sometimes you need the supporters to lift you as a player, and they lifted the players 5-10% in the second half and drove us on to victory.
So this is how it stood coming into the final game. Charlton needed a win at Oldham, and for Leeds to lose at Bristol Rovers, plus Millwall's game against Swindon to end all square. An unlikely scenario, it turned into an epic afternoon. Charlton certainly did their bit, as goals from Nicky Bailey and Miguel Llera earned them the victory they needed at Boundary Park. And for 10 glorious minutes or so, Charlton were in second place, until Leeds and Millwall turned their games around to win. So it was Norwich and Leeds who earned the two automatic promotion places after a final afternoon of unbearable tension which saw four different teams occupy second place at one stage. It meant that Charlton would meet Swindon in the playoffs with the first leg of the county ground. Your commentator is Peter Brackley.
That was Abankwah with the initial pass. Chance here. Oh, scooped out. Great stop. And they're wide. Randolph really came to his team's rescue there. John Paul McGovern floating it in. Some very static defending. And Austin thought he'd scored. Just darting it there, completely unmarked. But it was somehow scooped out. That's a fantastic stop by Darren Randolph. Sheehan's free kick. Another terrific save. Austin denied again. As he flung himself at that cross. He's a real threat in the box. Not quite yet good enough to beat the keeper. Borrodale to Bailey. There's a knack of popping up everywhere. Good effort. Oh! He's hit the post. So unlucky there. Terrific play by Bailey as he cut inside here. Only one thought on his mind. He's curled it beyond the keeper. It's kept out by the upright. Well, he scored in their last game after a barren spell, and he almost broke through for Charlton here. Alan Sheehan. Then O'Brien. Sheehan again. Getting his chance to race forward here in support. What a header from Charlie Austin. Couldn't take his chances early on, but boy, has he done this time. His 20th goal of the season, and it could be a very, very important one indeed for Swindon. So much resting on his young shoulders here, Charlie Austin, and he's responded with a very, very good finish. Taken by Richardson. It's gone right across. Goodness me, how do they survive then, Swindon? It's been a very determined response here from Charlton. Austin clashing with Sam, and he has stayed down, the goal scorer. Mighty scramble in here. I don't think the keeper got his hands to it. He was trying to. He was nicked away from him. And away comes Swindon now on the counter-attack. Ward's right up front. Very breaking. Here is Ward. It's 2. Danny Ward. And they have a cushion. As Danny Ward collects, kept his composure and drove it into the corner. Very, very good finish. No joy either for Mooney. Might just be that Phil Parkinson will break up that partnership fairly soon. So we'll give Forster a run out, but not for the moment. It's a goal back. Dion Burton. A rush of blood to the head from the keeper, who came racing out of goal, didn't get there. And he was brave as a lion then, Burton. A miscalculation by David Lucas. Long lock ball over the top. The defender can't deal with it, nor can the keeper. Cuthbert let it bounce. In goes Dion Burton. Derby. Simon Ferry. McGovern digging in his cross. Stuggers. Perricard! What frustration there. What relief for Charlton. It was almost despair for them and elation for Swindon, and for Vincent Perricard, the Frenchman who's come on as a late substitute.
I felt we were very slow to get going, and I think a few of the players, the occasion got to us slightly. Certainly in the first 20 minutes. You know, sometimes you get the home team, just like I said earlier, ride on the back of the vociferousness of the crowd, and Swindon certainly did that. Second half we played a lot better. We really took the game to them. You know, Nicky Bailey hit the post, and we could have gone one up, and we conceded goals against a run of play. But credit to the boys, they came back in it and give ourselves a great chance in the home leg.
Well, this is Reid on the assault here for Charlton. Decent efforts and just tipped away. High keeper Smith up to the task so far. They didn't really close him down then, Reid, the former West Ham youngster. Lera has parked himself on the near post. Borrell swerving it in. The keeper lost it, and it's gone in. Nowhere near it then, Phil Smith. He will have gone in off Ferry. The tie is level. He just flat and missed it, and it was indeed Simon Ferry who hooked it over his own goal line. Daly looked to make contact. I don't think he got there. No, it's the right boot of Simon Ferry. Now Gary Borrowdale. Good combination play here. Down this Charlton left. Reid's on his way. Burton's in the middle. And it's swung in, no. And scored by Mooney. Just before half-time. How precious a goal could that prove to be from David Mooney, the Irishman? They didn't pick him up in the box then, Swindon. After some excellent link-up play here, Borrowdale and Kyle Reid. Slipped by Derby, and look at the space he had there. David Mooney driving it beyond Phil Smith, the deputy goalkeeper. Very, very good finish. And Charlton have edged in front now in this playoff semi-final. Only his 6th goal of the season. That's what it means to Phil Parkinson. Oof. Well, don't think there was any intent there from Greer, but he definitely made contact. And he has been sent off. Well, the referee didn't see it as I did then. I thought he tried to play the ball. No question that he kicked it. It's a red card for the skipper. A dangerous challenge he has deemed that to be, referee Swarbrick. Well, his foot, no question, was very high. So I suppose really he thinks he's got no alternative. It was a follow-through that caught him. Bailey. Oh, O'Brien made the mistake. It's Mooney. What a stop then by Smith. Oh, yet another major incident in this thrilling semi-final. O'Brien lost his bearings completely. I could only presume he was trying to head it back to his keeper. He certainly wasn't there. Here's Bailey on the break. He's got Reid away to his left. Probably chose the wrong option there. Here comes Amankwa. McGovern. Some tugging going on. It was on Ward. Still McGovern. And then Ward going in! And Swindon have drawn level. He kept going, and he kept going. They tried to pull him back. Well, some questions going on. No wonder back there among those Charlton defenders. They just didn't pick him up. He starts it here, look. Pulling his shirt, he kept going. So did McGovern. And he got the rub of the green here. The keeper was committed. In total disarray, Charlton. And Danny Ward, who scored in the first game, has punished them to make it 2-1 tonight and 3-3 on aggregate. That's it. Being pulled back there, it was hauled down by Lera. And he's off. Denied him a goal-scoring opportunity. It was a fair way out, in truth. But he was certainly heading for goal then, Austin. Charlton protesting bitterly. But the referee has evened things out. Both down to 10. The Spaniard, Miguel Angel Lera. He's cutting in here. He's certainly pulled him back. And the referee says red card. Daly is alongside. That's Racon! Another really fine save by the substitute keeper. And now he's injured. It's a good strike this from Racon. That was heading in. Until he acrobatically flipped it over the top. Bailey spreading the play to pick out Borrowdale. Racon. Borrowdale. It's a bit greasy on top. We've seen quite a few players slipping. Richardson! Off the upright. It's frustration again for Charlton. This time for Fraser Richardson. Really got some power behind this on the half volley. The keeper was beaten. Saved by the upright. He's got McGovern in support. They've got 4-5 up here. Still McGovern. Defenders stepping up. Lovely ball played in though. And it's gone wide from Ward. Wagstaff. All wide from Burton. He so nearly won it then for Charlton as he swivelled in the box. Excellent play by Wagstaff. He had time too. The defenders weren't tight on him. A show of solidarity on the sidelines, as you'd expect. But the top scorer for Charlton this season makes it 1-0. John Paul McGovern with the first of the kicks then for Swindon. Scores! Nicky Bailey, captain of Charlton. Facing Bill Smith. Oh, he's blasted it wide. And well wide. Not even close then. Here is Charlie Austin. 20 goals scored during the season. The man who has made this transition from non-league football to League One football. Hoping he's going to Wembley. Up steps Austin. Yes! 2-1 Swindon, a huge sigh of relief then. Swindon have the edge. But here's Nicky Forster now. The man who normally scores against Swindon, and does this time. Kevin Amankwah has the responsibility now of taking this third kick for Swindon, for Danny Wilson's team. What's going through his mind right now? The Swindon manager, as he looks on here. Amankwah, well, he nearly got to it, Randolph. But it's 3-2 to Swindon. Unlucky then, Randolph. Getting a hand to it. Very nearly kept it out. Christian Daly. Taking this next kick now then for Charlton. The player of the season. No problem. 3-3. And it's young Danny Ward. And he's made it. And Swindon are almost there. Well, he can't even bear to watch. Phil Parkinson. Fraser Richardson, who has suffered defeat in the last 2 years in the playoffs. Well, he scored. He's kept them in it. Stephen Darby. What a moment for him. He's done it. Swindon are going to Wembley for the League One playoff final. A tremendous achievement for Danny Wilson's team. They have overcome a club that have been widely tipped this season for an instant return to the Championship. It's heartbreak instead for Charlton, who, like Swindon, so narrowly missed out on automatic promotion at the end of this long semi-final. They are going to take some consoling here, and no wonder at the end of such a tense occasion, such a dramatic night. Two of them really
It was just an incredible night, and I've got to say I haven't sat back and watched it on the TV yet, because I don't really want to sit through it again, because what started in such fantastic fashion for us, it was a night to remember in terms of the atmosphere at the Valley. Obviously finished in such disappointment for everybody at the club, but all I can say is that we gave it absolutely everything, and the boys put in a top level performance when it was most needed. Now, in my eyes, it should never have got the penalties, because we dominated the game so much. It should have been over, and you know, you can say, well, Nicky Bailey has missed the penalty, but now we can equally say that the game should have been out of sight by then anyway, and penalties or extra time shouldn't have even come into the equation. In the dressing room afterwards, it was probably the most difficult dressing room I've ever been in, either as a player or as a manager, because you know, the lads had given us everything this season. They really had. They'd worked their socks off, and both in training and in games, and you know, the supporters are really desperate for the club to do well. But you know, believe you me, it means so much more that if you're a player or a manager or part of the coaching staff, and you know, it's our livelihoods are at stake, and we were desperate to achieve the ultimate goal. So it's a very quiet dressing room, and I just said to the boys, look, you've done yourselves proud tonight. It's a horrible way to go out, but over the course of the season, you've been fantastic. We've got to pick ourselves up and go again. I'm confident that we go into a division next year which isn't going to be as strong, albeit you've got Southampton who are going to be clear favourites. Now, I don't think it's going to be as strong. I'm confident I'll make this squad as strong, if not better, than last season, so we can go again and have a real chance to go for one of those automatic promotion spots. But along the summer, I think there is going to be a reasonable turnaround of players. I can only say that, you know, the support and how Charlton is thought of around the country, you know, was reaffirmed throughout those last few games of the season, and certainly the playoff game, which the country, everybody in the country saw. You know, Charlton, you know, it's more than a football club. The supporters play such a big part. The club plays a big part, and not just in terms of football, but in the community. I'll be working, you know, every minute of every day throughout the summer to make sure I get a better squad in place next year, to make us competitive again. And not only that, we want to go and play in the same style of football we played this season, which you know, I think the supporters will say in the main was very entertaining. And you know, that's important at a club like Charlton, with such an emphasis on the academy, that we get the ball down and play the game the right way. I think it's very easy as a manager to say, right, we're going to be direct, we're going to be a long ball team. You know, that's the easy way out. My job as a manager is to develop the young players at the football club, and we'll be doing it, but we're going to do it by playing the right way.